going toward the light is always worth the fight. So even though you might be feeling like, damn, like this is rough boots and I just don't see the end, there's always light at the end, and there's always people who are there to help. And I just think there's so much strength in reaching out and asking for help.
Agree.
And like, hey, I'm going through it and I need your help. And sometimes it's not even advice, you just need to listen, or you need someone to listen.
Hi, Kyle. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so happy to have you here on She Comes with Baggage. I know we connected over DM and we've met very briefly. Like a year, 2 years, 3 years
Probably
ago?
like 2 years now.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is wild.
The Out event here in Los Angeles.
Yes.
But this is our first time like sitting and having a conversation, which is great.
Finally.
Yes, finally. Because I've been following your content on Instagram. It's beautiful. I mean, your content, you do modeling, performing, fitness journey, everything, which we're going to get into on this podcast. So I'm excited.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's beautiful here. I was like, I'm gonna move in.
Yeah, honestly,
this
like
is my home now.
I'm like, do y'all do rent? Can I just move in? I can make a little space right here on this carpet.
Absolutely, same.
Exactly.
Me too.
Honestly, it's bigger than my normal apartment. So it's fine.
She's a nice size.
Yeah, right.
For LA, for sure.
For Los Angeles, absolutely. Well, speaking of Los Angeles, are you from Los Angeles?
No, originally I'm from Kansas City.
Kansas City. Okay, got it.
And I left Kansas City right after high school.
Okay.
Went to college in Oklahoma, and then pretty much jetted right off to New York after that.
From Midwest to New York City, like I'm assuming it's like Kansas City's pretty big, but it's like definitely smaller than New York City, and it's definitely a different pace. What was that that transition like?
You know, definitely a culture shock, I will say. And I hadn't visited New York, so I had kind of like dabbled in the city.
Yeah.
But I had really, I went to college in Oklahoma, like I said, and from Oklahoma to New York was really different. And I was fortunate enough to move to New York with work.
Yep.
So it kind of gave me like an instant net of friends, which isn't really typical, I think, when you move to New York.
Yeah.
Because before that, I didn't really know that many people. But definitely a shock with the fast pace and kind of the like dog eat dog world.
It is true.
People are not as friendly in New York City as Kansas City.
Yep.
So yeah, different for sure.
I actually lived in New York City for about 4 or 5 years, but I had lived in San Francisco. I'd lived in Sydney before that. But even still, those cities didn't prepare me for New York.
I mean, I don't think anything can really prepare you for New York.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the movies are not accurate. Like it's just, you have to experience it. There's just no other way.
Yeah, it's the level. I mean, even Los Angeles, I feel like the pace is not even as close to what the pace is in New York City. I feel like I lived 12 lifetimes in New York City. Where I'm like, it truly is the city that doesn't sleep, because I definitely did not sleep for like 4 or 5 years.
100%.
But then when did you come out to Los Angeles then?
I've been here almost 10 years, which is wild
That
to
is
me.
wild.
Like life is just going.
Right.
I came out here in 2016.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you'll
from
be,
New York.
You'll be doing your 10-year anniversary
next year, which I think makes me like an official Californian.
I think you get a local stamp whenever you hit the 10-year mark.
Next year, next March.
Yeah, exactly.
It's on my driver's license.
That's amazing. Well, I mean, do you get a chance to go back home to visit family often, or?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, Christmas, I love the holidays. So that is just non-negotiable. Like I'm always going home around that time. And I actually just got back last week from visiting my family.
That's so great.
As well.
So do you have a really close relationship with your family?
I do. Yeah. We lost my grandpa about 1.5 years ago. And that was really tough for us. He was just a big bleeder and in our family.
Yeah.
So I have gone back several times this year just to check in, and have my presence there with grandma and mom. But yeah, I'm very, very close with them, and I'm an only child. So my mom and I are like besties. We always have been. So I get there as much as I can.
That's good.
And we try to do like a quarterly visit.
That's good.
So.
I mean, I feel like it's nice too, especially when not only you are going through the grieving process, but also your whole family being able to go back and kind of have that support group together, especially because it takes time to kind of like rebuild the family back into a close-knit situation whenever someone like that has now passed, whenever it's like that has been a staple of the family for so long, right? And your grandfather, this is the same one that was also in the NFL Hall of Fame too, right?
Yeah.
What was that experience like growing up?
I actually my mom and I lived with my grandparents
Okay.
for a short time, just when, after my parents' separation and when my mom was kind of getting back on her feet. So I have always been really, really close with the two of them. NFL Chiefs Hall of Fame.
Okay.
So like 6'5", 265 pounds, like a huge guy. Like he made
Okay.
me look small
Yeah.
and I'm enormous.
Yeah.
I was always really close with them
Yeah.
and always a little like afraid of him. He was like a giant like teddy bear. Like I
Right.
knew his strength and I knew how loved he was in the community of Kansas City.
Yeah.
Just because he did so much work as well with the NFL and the alumni and caring for kids. So he was a really well-known person
Right.
in the community. So I was really lucky to get that time with him early on.
Yeah.
And he really helped foster my love for performing, oddly enough,
Okay.
just from being in an NFL family. I
Yeah.
say like the NFL gene like skipped my generation.
No, you
Which,
definitely
like,
got the height, you got the build, you got the fitness, you
I
got
got
everything.
the height.
Yeah.
If I could do it all again, I would like maybe try to be a kicker. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
So I wouldn't get hit. But yeah, he actually was really instrumental
Yeah.
and just I started in dance,
Yeah.
and which is like kind of weird to think about, like this huge football guy, like, helped foster my love for performing, but he just was such a sweet, sweet man
Yeah.
and was just like the most accepting person.
That's incredible, and I feel like it also just creates that bond and that next level of role model, right? Because, sometimes with parents or family, at an early age, they're the ones that can either be your first bullies or your first experience of being told not to go into performing arts or not to go and do the other things that you're truly passionate about. Like, boys should be doing this or be doing that. But it sounds like your family was really supportive from you from the beginning, and I think that that's
Yeah.
especially incredible because you come from such an athletic background, right? Like such an athlete family where you would think that those stereotypes would kind of follow. But that's amazing. Do you think that
Yeah.
definitely had something with your upbringing into who you are now and being more confident into who you are now?
Yeah, I think it gave me a sense of confidence for sure, and
Yeah.
and never a feeling of being other than.
Okay.
And I would consider dance a sport.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
Because look, you don't want to see me dancing. Also, because that works the cardio, and then I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
am I
yeah.
dying right now? I'm like, I don't know.
When
Someone
did?
save me.
When did? Yeah, I just didn't know any different. Like
Absolutely.
I was fortunate enough to have that. I know that is not
Yeah.
the experience that a lot of people have all the time.
Yeah.
With their families being so accepting. I mean, I'd never even had to like come out
Yeah.
as gay to my family, and I think that that's something that I just wish more
Yep.
queer people could experience.
Yeah.
I was asked one time, like, what is your coming out story? And I was like, well, what was yours? And the guy was like, well, I'm straight. And I was like, okay.
Wow. Yeah.
So like, why would I feel like I have to have this huge event
Yeah.
to like announce who I love? And I wish more kids had that.
Yeah.
You know?
So that's such an incredible example of representation too, though, because I think sometimes with our community in books and movies and songs, we're seen in the lens of trauma a lot, but there are situations where the LGBTQ plus community is accepted from the beginning, and that comes from family or supportive friends. And I feel like that doesn't get heard or seen about enough. And I feel like that is such an example because also, with us not having enough representation of who to follow and who to be a role model from, sometimes families also don't. So they only see that, in movies and scripts that they're supposed to say, no, don't be this, don't be that, right? And then it's like it doesn't give them the opportunity to be like, oh, I can be welcoming and supportive and this is also normal. But I think that that has such a great power of representation for people who are maybe family members who have someone coming out to them, and how do they navigate that? So
Yeah, I think that I've tried to pass that down.
That's
I
good,
know
yeah.
in my experiences of, what I've done in my career or just the places I've lived, I've met so many, people from different walks
Yeah.
of life and heard their experiences growing up.
Mhm.
And I think that I've tried to be what my family was for me,
Yeah.
for them,
That's
if they
incredible.
didn't get that. And I've had some people come out to me or like just share their hardships of going, wanting to get a divorce and their parents weren't accepting, or just like these things. I feel like I've tried to just pass that down,
Yeah.
of that safe space that they could open up to me,
That's incredible.
if they haven't experienced that before.
That's amazing. And so from the performance side and the dance side, was that something that you had like an early look back in your childhood where you were like, I was always doing that, dancing around the house, making your family, like, watch what I can do? Because I did that and I'm not a
Yeah.
dancer, but I definitely had them watch me perform and it wasn't the best. But did you have like
Yeah.
that an early look back from even childhood?
I did, and I think my parents maybe thought it was a phase
Okay.
for a while. I was really young, like I
Yeah.
was like 4,
Okay.
5, and I think that I kept saying I wanted to be in dance lessons, and
Yeah.
I think my parents were like, I don't know,
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but I guess they gave themselves like, if he continues to say this like a year from now, like let's
Yeah.
just do it.
Yeah.
So I was put in dance classes like around 5 and a half.
Okay.
But yeah, there were signs. I would
Yeah.
loved Janet Jackson.
Okay.
Like my mom like had the Grease like vinyl album, and I loved Grease. And I was obsessed with The Wizard of Oz.
Okay. The musical theater was always something a part of it as well?
Yeah,
Okay.
musical theater was really my love. Dance was like the intro to
Yep.
musical theater. But yeah, I Wizard of Oz was really my favorite film.
Okay.
It still is my favorite film.
Yep.
And I have a VHS. It's really cute, of my dad. Like I was Dorothy, obviously. And I got to wear like my mom's dress and
Yeah.
like heels, and I had pants on my head for like the pigtails.
Stop. That's so cute.
And my dad played every other character. So like the
Okay.
Scarecrow, the Tin Man, the Lion, the Witch, Glinda, like everyone.
That's so cute.
So very early on, they just loved it,
Yeah.
and just supported it.
That's amazing. I love that. Whenever I was growing up and people asked me like, were there early signs? I was like, well, I was Harry Potter for Halloween like 12 years in a row, and I might be again this year. So I don't know. That might be a sign.
There are
I don't know.
signs.
There are signs.
There are always signs.
But that's so amazing that your family was also like, let's all be involved in this, and then it's just really uplifting you from such an early age. Was there ever a moment, whether it wasn't with your family or maybe just society, as you started to go out in the world, was there ever a moment where you remember society telling you, boys should act this way or boys should act this way, or being told you were being too much or having to dim your light?
Yeah, elementary school
Yeah. Like,
was a shock
Okay.
to me, because I had been in dance for a while.
Yeah.
And I think I moved to a new school. I think it was second grade, and there was a talent show. And I was like, well, I'm going to dance in this talent show, obviously.
Right.
And I have a photo of it. I was wearing purple biker shorts and a purple sequin jacket from my like dance recital and a purple cowboy hat.
okay.
And I just thought nothing of it.
Right.
No one made a big deal of it. And I danced in the talent show. And then I remember going to school the next day and being made fun of for the first time, and being called gay when I was in second grade. I was like, I didn't even understand what that was, or
Yep.
being called a girl, or the boys didn't want to sit with me at lunch, or they didn't want to play with me on the playground. So that was kind of the first traumatizing,
Yep.
I guess, experience where I knew that I was different.
Do you remember having like any of those conversations with your family afterwards? I mean, I'm so sorry that happened to you, because I feel like kids, as well as they can have such a huge creative imagination, sometimes the opinions of adults get put down onto kids, and then they take that to school, and that's where bullying is introduced a lot of times. Like, do you remember going back to your family and having that conversation, and were they even more supportive? Because I'm curious at how that works from a supportive lens, how that gets navigated to you to understand that you aren't different, that you aren't someone to be ostracized, but to still feel confidence in yourself even while experiencing bullying.
That's such a great question. Like moments like this, I kind of wish I could be a fly on the
Yeah.
wall
Yeah.
to experience how my parents handled that,
Right.
because I know they did a great job.
Of
I
course.
don't remember obviously
conversation.
exactly how
Yeah,
it was
absolutely.
handled, but I always just remember feeling a sense of like, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to be different, and these people just don't understand you yet.
Yep.
But I do remember crying a lot and like begging my parents, like I didn't want to go to school. I was
Really?
just like, please don't make me go. Please don't make me go. And I'm sure, as just like two parents trying to do their best,
Yeah.
like how do you handle that? Like I
Absolutely.
think of myself, through their lens sometimes. I'm like, okay, well, at this age that I am now, they had me.
Yeah.
And like, how would I deal with this? And there were a few times, I say my mom is like the original bad bitch.
Okay.
I don't know if I can say bitch
Yeah,
on the
of course,
podcast.
of course.
But she like rolled up to that school and was like talking to the principal and talking to the teachers. And like, she was very on it.
Got it.
Yeah, she just always had my back.
Yeah. I
From
think
the beginning.
when we think about allies too, people ask my friends or whoever, not even in the LGBTQ plus community, how they can be better allies. And I'm like, I think that one really key tool is to support us even if we're not in the room. And I think that that is a good example of that. Like, your mom supporting you and having your back. Even if you weren't there to listen to it, she was going and having these conversations with other adults or making sure that you had safe spaces even if she wasn't around.
Yeah.
I think that's really important, and it's such a good way of helping other people. Is like if you hear someone saying something homophobic or transphobic or any kind of the phobias, making sure that you stand up for those you care about, even if they're not in the room, to hear it for themselves, because it's up to all of us to kind of protect each other with that.
For sure.
Well, I would love to ask too, I know you said before that you never had to have like a coming out experience. That conversation of where we should kind of step away from coming out culture. And that's kind of what we would wish we would all do, to where we don't have to have these big, scary moments.
Yeah, I mean, I do wish that for people, and especially kids growing up now, I do feel like we've made a lot of progress.
Absolutely.
And even in my lifetime, like I do feel it's different. And I'm friends with a lot of people who have kids, and they're like, oh yeah, Jake loves Tom and whatever. And it's like totally normal.
I love it.
I do think that is more so like here in California. I'm not so sure like in Kansas City. But yeah, I mean, I would love to step away from having to like announce or have this kind of like intense moment, because there is anxiety that comes with that. And even before, like it was always presented to me instead of, do you have a girlfriend? Of like, do you have anyone special in your life that you want to tell us?
Right.
And when I kind of knew already, but I wasn't ready to talk about it, it would stress me out.
Got it.
And I would think like, oh gosh, like, are they going to love me? Are they going to be okay with this? And I felt deep in my gut that they would be.
Right.
But that's still a really big thing.
Yeah. Well,
to
because
be asking a 14 or, year old or younger even.
Well, because especially you have so much love for your family, and your family loves you so much. It also comes with this like, but what if they will love me differently if they know this about me? Even though maybe you also had that feeling that they would still love you no matter what. But exactly as you said, it's a never-ending anxiety until you kind of get that off your chest and you're like bracing yourself, like, what are people going to say?
Yeah.
And then you never really know what people's reactions are going to be. And I wish so much that people didn't have to have that big, scary feeling. Even for me, like when I started to realize that I was queer, because I didn't even know that was even a thing, because I'm from Tennessee and very religious, conservative background and environment. I didn't know. No one talked about it. No one even mentioned what it was unless it was like a really terrible thing. And I was like, oh, it's not me, because I'm not this terrible monster that people keep talking about. But when I did start to like connect the dots, I was so spooked. I was so terrified to the point where I literally dropped out of college and moved to the other side of the country, because I was just like, I don't want to be this that people are talking about. But when you come out and you're like, wait, it's kind of freeing and it's kind of fun. You know what I mean? It's like, this is actually a lot of fun with it.
Absolutely.
Do you remember your earliest experiences of recognizing that you were queer? Because I know that you had those people, those kids telling you at an early age, but did it connect with you then, or did it take a long time?
It took some time.
Yeah, of
I
course.
would say a couple.
Yeah.
Uncle Jesse watching Full House.
Honestly, as a lesbian, it's the same. I don't know.
Yeah, he was pretty hot. I think I didn't realize I was just like very drawn to like Uncle Jesse on Full House.
Yeah, okay.
And I was, for a long time, I didn't know if it was because I wanted to like look like him, or he was just, well liked, or if I was physically attracted to him.
Yeah.
That is one. Definitely like the underwear aisle of Macy's.
You're like,
like, I don't know, like you saw the packaging. And again, it was like, I don't know if I want my body to look like that. If I was just like, whoa, like that's a man. Like he's like buff and strong and all these things that society says you should be as a man.
Right.
So those were a couple things. And then also like I grew up around football all the time. And for many years I had no interest whatsoever. And then I remember one season my parents had it on and I just was kind of like watching the TV and I was like, wow, like these guys are big.
Yeah, right.
And they're wearing tights.
Yeah.
and they're attacking each other.
I knew you.
And they do it for 3 hours.
Yeah, you're like, am I a football fan?
Yeah, I'm
think
like, I love this. Every Sunday, I'll be here.
I'm dying.
So I think that
Yeah.
was a kind of a turning point
Okay.
for me.
That's to say, I played soccer all the way through college, and I was like competitive league. And now I look at it and I'm like, the U.S. women's national team, I'm like, I am so gay.
Oh, I'm
very
sure.
gay. Just watching the sport, I'm like, whew.
Yep.
I'm like, it's hot in here.
Yeah.
I'm not even working out. So I can definitely relate to that. You also mentioned Jesse from Full House, and I do think that that character, particularly, well, at least in my opinion, had this like blend of masculinity and femininity. Like they were still kind of like fluid, even in the way they presented themselves. Obviously, they played a straight role, heteronormative role, but there was still like this like femininity to him where
Well, he was obsessed with his hair.
Exactly.
He was in the gym. He cared about what he wore.
Exactly.
Yeah, which were things that I related to. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like I am normal.
Right. There was like a maintenance, like a self-maintaining image to him where I still feel like there was like that fluidity. Do you feel like that was also a part of your upbringing and like navigating between your masculinity and your femininity?
Yeah, I think both were always welcomed.
Okay.
Like I said, like my dance recital, I was wearing purple sequins and whatever. But
Right.
I also did dabble, I will say dabble in sports, but I was like, I had to try everything once.
Yeah.
And that's something that I am really grateful that my parents, like if I did dance, like I needed to also try t-ball.
Okay.
And I needed to also try basketball and volleyball. So all these things just to kind of see where my talents were. Both those sides or aspects of my personality were always welcome because I could, like, I am athletic.
Yeah.
So I did excel in those sports, but they just didn't really speak to me.
Right.
But I did feel as I got older, more intimidated by the boys or like the guys. And like in gym class in high school was like super traumatizing or just kind of like, oh God, like where do I fit in? Or they're going to make fun of me if I can't do a push-up, or I'm obviously gay and now we're in the locker room. Like, those things did always come to my mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think I lived in both and both were welcomed in my home.
Yeah. And where would you say that kind of lives with you now? Do you still feel like that kind of plays a role with who you are every day? Because, when I met you, you were so fabulous. Like we were just talking, talking the gay matrix where you walked in and I was like head turn. I mean, I can literally, not to be like sound creepy, but I can remember your entire outfit because I was just like, who is this person? Like you were such a beautiful flow of like this masculinity, femininity, but also just like so sure of who you were, where I was just like, I want to be you. I was like, you were incredible. I'll never forget it because I was like, I don't know, your presence was just so powerful. Do you feel like you kind of stepped into more of that where you feel more confident in blending that over time?
As adults, we go through kind of roller coasters of life and things. And the last few years, I will say, have been really challenging, emotional years for me. And when I met you, that was kind of a moment where I was like feeling myself again, you know, and I had done a lot of work to get to that place.
Got it.
And I don't know if like 5 or 10 years ago, I would have showed up to this event in a silver metallic trench coat with sunglasses and gloves, you know what I mean? But that was just a moment of feeling confident again.
Right.
And I had lost that for a while.
Which I think is kind of an interesting point too, that it's not even necessarily the outfit that you had on, it was the energy that you were exuding. Like you literally had an energy to you where I felt your confidence. So obviously the outfit was an eye catcher, right? I was like, who is that? But it was just your confidence.
We have to find a picture. Splice it in.
We will have to splice it in because it was iconic. And but it was more so just your energy alone. And I could feel that confidence coming in, which is amazing. If somebody was like listening in now and maybe they feel that they have kind of lost their confidence or they feel more in their head with their self-esteem or they're feeling a little insecure, what is some advice that you would give to them to kind of step back more into their confidence?
Such good questions.
Sorry, I was like,
you're like really good at your job.
No, thank you. I mean, you're just giving me these incredible answers. I was like,
I think just being the authentic version of yourself does take time. And I think that it also takes practice. And you have to put yourself in safe spaces to be the most authentic version of you. So what I would tell someone is, even in your alone time, like just write in your journal, sing in your car, like dance in your room, just be kind of goofy and wild and vulnerable. Because I think sometimes we dumb ourselves down or we try to fit into these, norms of what people think we should be.
Yeah.
It takes time and practice. Like I said, like I don't think I would have been able to walk into a space like that with really powerful, important people in our community years before that.
Right. It's interesting that you said too that it takes time, because for me, like it took a minute. Like when I was growing up, I was very tomboy. I mean, when I look back, I'm like, oh, she gay. She's super gay. Like that
The
girl,
closet
that's
was
a little
glass.
baby gay. No one told me, but it was there. Like again, I was Harry Potter every year.
Yeah.
Played sports, played soccer, was always with the boys. At one point, I cut all my hair off. I was like, I'm, whatever. And so I definitely, it was there. But then growing up, people started telling me, you have to dress this way, you have to dress this way, you're a girl, you have to act this way, you have to start being this way, you have to start looking for a boyfriend. And I'm like, but I don't want any of those things.
Yeah.
I definitely don't want heels. I definitely don't want a boyfriend. I definitely don't want lipstick. Like, why am I doing these? It feels so, in a way like a dysphoria to me. But I was told that I'm being weird if I'm not doing that. And then when I started coming out, everyone was like, oh, but now you have to dress like a lesbian. Now you have to be this person. And at the time, early 2000s, it was like, only a very like masculine representation.
Yeah.
And that also didn't feel like me. So it's like up until like now I'm 33, I feel like up until recently, I'm only just now starting to actually find that blend and feel that confidence in myself, because I'm only dressing for myself now. And like I'm only doing it for me, not other people telling me what I should and shouldn't be doing. But it took me a minute, like, because I was just absorbing everyone else's opinions.
Yeah.
But I do like what you said. It's like trying different things and seeing what feels good, because I feel like even behind closed doors, like putting something on can like completely change the way you feel about yourself, or like changing your skin routine, or I don't know, just your routine in general. It doesn't have to be this big thing that you step out in public and like make this announcement, but it's like little bitty things that you can do to feel more of yourself as well.
Yeah, and there can be eras of self-expression as well.
Right.
Like sometimes I go through my closet and I'm like, what was I thinking 2 years ago? Like, what? Why did I buy a green leotard? Like, where did I think I was going to wear a green leotard?
Have you worn it?
I don't know, probably. But like, would I wear it tomorrow? No.
Right.
But like at the time, like I had a buzzed head and my hair was blonde and my eyebrows were blonde. And I don't know, like it's okay to have those moments of self-expression that like you just can't relate to right now. And that's fine. But that's the beauty of being a grown-up too. Like you can do whatever you want.
It's so true. And like sometimes I feel like the older we get, we have to like follow these rules of life, and you have to dress and act a certain way. And a lot of that sometimes stems towards like a heteronormative lifestyle, right? You can't be too loud or too colorful or whatever. But that is part of the fun. Like, we only have this life anyways. You might as well just try different things and be curious about yourself. I don't know. For me, it's like I don't want to just like stop learning about myself just because I'm starting to feel more confident. I'm like, if I'm starting to feel this confident now, if I keep leaning into it, I wonder how much more confident I can feel. Where did your love for, you said musical theater and then dance started from an early age. And then you started performing. When did the performing start? But that started at a young age too, or older?
I started performing professionally still when I was like in middle school, high school.
Okay.
So in Kansas City, was doing, shows and working professionally. And then I went to school for a short time for musical theater. So I did the whole like college audition situation, and I had like a dream school that I wanted to go to, and I was waitlisted at my dream school, and I was devastated, and I wanted to like burn that college down. And I was just like, how could you pass on me? Like I went to kind of like my backup college, and there was just no way I ever thought I was going to be going to this school.
Okay.
So I had an attitude already going into this college.
Yeah. Like a tantrum walking in.
I mean, I'm self-aware.
Fair.
I had an attitude.
I love it.
But I was still nonetheless excited to be having that experience, and was fortunate enough, again, that my parents were supportive of me wanting to even do musical theater. And still a great program. Like the program is still one of the top to attend. But for me, I didn't want to be in Oklahoma. And as I was in school, I just kept thinking like, this is not where I can see myself for 4 years. And I don't think this program will give me the tools to be the professional performer that I want to be.
Okay.
So I was a little sneaky and I started taking money out of my account that my parents would like give you like an allowance.
Sure.
And pulling it out like I was using it. And then my friend was booking my flights to New York City.
Wow, okay.
And on the weekends or whatever, I would skip school and fly all the way from Oklahoma to New York City and just like audition.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of how.
Wait, this feels like a movie. It feels like something that, you know what I mean?
It's
Running away from
it's
like running away from the Midwest to sneak off to New York City, the big city, and then fly back and then to follow your dreams.
On my own.
Yeah.
Like at 18.
Wow.
If I had a child now and they did that, I would lose my mind.
Yeah.
So I understand like when my parents found out I was doing it, they were super pissed.
Yeah.
I would be too.
Right.
But yeah, I was going to auditions and I was like, I think this program is not for me. I don't want to be here. And that's a scary thing to decide at 18. But I knew I couldn't leave without a job.
Okay.
So I was just determined to get out of there. And at that point, I had made it through like all of the callbacks for Hairspray on Broadway. And that was like my dream show. Like Hairspray was just the ultimate dream. I did not end up getting it the first or honestly 10th time that I auditioned for Hairspray. I actually booked a cruise ship first. So that was my first like professional job. So I left college to sing on a cruise ship.
Okay.
When I was 18.
Did you sneak off and do that, or your parents knew?
My parents were like, not pleased.
Right. I was like, wait, I need to know the timeline. Is it, did they find out about New York first, or you told them, by the way, while you already know now about New York,
by the way, I've been stealing your money, flying to New York City, auditioning for Hairspray the musical, didn't get it, but I did drive to Dallas and audition for Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines, and I booked a cruise ship, and I'm leaving in October.
Got it.
And they were like, no, you're not.
Was their jaw just dropped? Like, what? You know what I mean? Okay.
I think that was a big turning point, and bless my parents, because again, like I would be beside myself if my 18-year-old said that.
Yeah.
But they were just like, okay, if this is what you decide to do, like you're on your own. You're a full-grown adult.
Right.
So after this happens and you change your mind, or you can't book a job after this, or you're just like auditioning, or you need help with an apartment, like we can't help you.
Okay. And then that like sparked the additional determination at that point, because you already had the determination with your parents' support. And then, I mean, after you realized that this is like everything's riding on this, where did your mind go from there? Was it like, everything has to happen because it's all riding on that?
Yeah. I mean, I still am a ball buster, but when I look back, I'm like, damn, at 18, I just like refused to take no for an answer. And I think if any, one at 18 like got rejected the amount of times I did, they probably would have been like, I think this is a sign that like maybe this isn't for me. But I was just like, no.
Yeah, you're like, it's in my blood. It's gonna happen.
Absolutely not. Like I'm going to be in Hairspray specifically, and I will die trying.
Fair.
And so the second I got off that cruise ship, I think it was like an 7 or 8 month like contract.
Yeah.
And I lived on the ship, and I saved all of my money. And I was really smart. And then I was able to move to New York.
Wow.
After that.
Insane. I mean, I love insane in the best way possible. I'm like, insane.
Deranged.
No, but that is incredible.
Delusion.
I also have mad respect for that, because like I grew up in Tennessee, but I always felt like Tennessee was not right for me. And I also didn't like the mindsets of the people that I was around, and the family that I grew up in was very closed-minded. And that never felt right for me. And I was just like, I need to get out. Ironically, when I freaked out about being queer, possibly, and I booked a flight to San Francisco for art school.
Okay.
But again, I had no representation, so no one told me San Francisco is the gayest part of America. So I ended up there, and I was like,
gays?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so here we are, me and my full lesbian self. But it took me doing everything possible. At one point, I lived in San Antonio doing construction, and I'm 5'3" and like a little scrawny. Like,
I might need photos of that.
I had a tool belt, everything, full get. Then at one point, I lived in San Francisco. I was selling water bottles by Fisherman's Wharf just to pay off school, and I was like hustling. I was like, water bottle, get your water bottle. There is a photo of that one. I for sure have it.
God.
But I was just always like, because I didn't have the support from my family to get me through the next thing. But I was always like, I don't care what it takes. I will hustle my way working 2-3 jobs if it means I can be in the places that make me feel most alive.
Yeah.
In myself, but also in my passion, but also in where I want to see my life going. I just never, like, my family never left Tennessee. They never decided to move outside of their little hometown bubble. And I was like, that's not me. There's this big world out there, you know?
Yeah.
But I love that you're like that, because I was like, oh my God, that's incredible. And it's also so exciting and, I don't know, inspiring even to me. Wait, what's your sign?
A Cancer.
A Cancer.
Yeah.
Okay. Wait. Okay. Interesting. I'm an Aries, so I was like, maybe you're an
Okay.
Aries, like an adventure.
No.
Well, Cancer is
I'm like an emotional little ball,
fair.
but feisty when needed.
Fair.
You know?
Okay.
Will cry, but will ruin your life.
I love it. It's a good balance. It's a balance.
Absolutely.
I'm an Aries, but my rising is Pisces, so I cry
Okay.
often.
Yes.
Yeah. Like Titanic is my favorite movie, and I cry every time.
Okay.
And I'm proud of it. You know, I'm proud
You
of it.
must be.
Yeah, of course. So you're now on the cruise ship that has now
Yeah.
gotten you to New York City. At this point, your parents have basically just been like, "Oh, you've made it," or they're like, "Now you're moving to New York City." What do you mean? Because at this point, you've been kind of close to them.
Yeah.
In a
I mean,
way.
I remained really close to them. I think they were just kind of like,
Well,
I don't
physically,
know what you're doing.
I guess, like
Oh, yeah,
physically,
yeah.
like geographically. Sorry,
Yeah.
I should.
Emotionally close, physically far.
Yes.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of like you know, if you were having a normal college experience, like you
Right.
come back, you visit, you whatever. It's like when I was on that cruise ship, like I had my cell phone once a week.
Oh wow.
That's it. So like I would call them every Saturday,
Yeah.
and you know, so frightening to have an 18-year-old at the time just out in the middle of the ocean, like performing. But they came to visit,
Yeah.
and I think once they saw me in my element and saw like how happy I was, they were just like all for it.
Right. Okay,
Yeah.
that's amazing. So you moved to New York City with the money that you saved from the cruise ship, and then what happens next? What that just snowballed into?
Auditioning my ass
Full
off.
career.
Yeah, musical theater kid. And I think I was like 19 at the time. Being out on my own really lit a fire under me because there was just no option.
Right.
And I remember doing kind of like workshops with kids who wanted to do musical theater, and they're like, "What's your advice? Like what can we do? Like tell me everything." And the advice that I would give them was, if you can see yourself doing anything else, do it.
Okay.
Because I think if you have a backup that's like easily accessible, you just fall back.
Yeah, I agree.
And for me, I was like, no,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do these shows, and I'm gonna do it. And I was there for a while. I think it was like maybe within the first year, I booked like my first like big thing,
Yeah.
which was the national tour of The Wedding Singer,
Wow.
which wasn't a show that I was like honestly that jazzed about, but I was like, it's a job,
Yeah.
and it was like I think 14 months or something. So it was a long contract.
That's good too. It's also creating stability with a long contract as well,
Yes,
right? So that's
yeah.
good. Yeah.
So, and I had like just had a sublet apartment. I think we had like a 1-bedroom, and I shared it with 4 girls,
Wow.
or 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, 4 girls, and me.
Wow.
Nightmare.
But when
Never
you're
again.
19, you're
Oh
like,
yeah.
I can sleep in a
Well,
little
you have
nook and
nothing
it's
to
fine.
compare it to. You're just like, oh my God, we're in New York City. This is crazy.
living the
like
dream.
yeah. So that was the first like big job I got, and then I've ended up getting Hairspray finally.
Wow.
After
that's
like
that gives me chills.
I think 17 auditions.
Wow.
And over a year. I mean, these were over years.
Of
So like
course.
I would kind of like pretend to be sick like on the Wedding Singer tour, and like secretly fly back to
Yeah.
New York for these. But I just always felt like Hairspray was my show.
Yeah.
And I just kind of like knew that I am going to be in this. It's
Yeah.
just a matter of when.
Okay.
So every time they would call me, I would go back.
That's amazing.
And this is over like probably like 3 or 4 years.
Got it.
And the last time I went back to the audition, I had a little attitude at that point. And I was like, you know what? Like, you want me or you don't. And I kind of cared less.
Okay.
I just wanted it so bad. And sometimes when you want something so bad, you just psych yourself out.
Absolutely.
You get nervous and you kind of just like blow it. But this time I was just like, whatever. Like, this is the last freaking time I'm coming back for you guys. Like, you've been putting me through the ringer for years. Like, you want me or you don't. And I remember I was always going in for this one role who understudied Link Larkin.
Okay.
And then I went in there expecting to sing the Link Larkin song. And they like threw me for a loop. And they're like, we're going to actually have you sing like the Corny Collins song.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, God, I was like, whatever. So I just like sing this stupid song that I was like, I'm never going to be like, Corny Collins was supposed to be like 40 years old or something. And I was like 20.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm never going to get this. And then the next day, they called me and I got it. And I got Hairspray from an open call. Like I didn't even have
Wow.
an agent then. I had nothing.
Wow.
So
I feel like this story is just amazing because again, it's like this never-ending cycle of resiliency of you just
mhm.
being like so sure that this is who you are and so sure that this is the life that you were put here to live that you like fully manifested everything, right? And
Yeah.
and it's also, I mean, I would love to hear like just as a quick segue, what is your relationship with like faith or spirituality?
Hmm.
Is it something that you believe in like a higher power over like a manifestation in some sense?
I think that the timing of this question is perfect because it wasn't until Hairspray that I really was like, oh, maybe putting things out into the universe is real,
Yeah.
and that was even before. I mean, this is like, I'm not gonna like date myself that much, but this is before people really talked about like spirituality
Yeah.
and like putting things into the universe
Sure.
and doing your vision board. I was just like, I am in Hairspray. And
Yeah.
like there's no like you can't tell me shit. Like this is my show.
Right.
I'm perfect for it. So that kind of made me think like, oh, if I like really want something and just never take no for an answer,
Right.
I can do it.
I literally love that because I was always the same where I was just like I don't know what's going to happen to make it happen, but it's going to happen because it's already real in my head.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's something for me where I've like lived by that stance. Like even with with this podcast, I woke up and I called Sharon, who is the owner of the studio, and I was like, Sharon, I'm going to start a podcast. And she was like, you don't talk on camera. I was like, but I will
Yeah,
eventually.
you make it work.
And I was like, and she goes, who are you going to bring on? I was like, I don't know, but we'll bring it on. And now like this, it's been happening for months now. And I'm like, wait,
Yeah.
I just suddenly, I'm like, wow, I have a podcast now. You know what I
love
mean?
that and a good one.
And thank you so much. But it's just
Yeah.
like, I think it's just like this never-ending belief in yourself where it's
Mhm.
just like this power that we all have in ourselves, but it's you just really have to be your biggest cheerleader.
Yeah.
Because the world and situations will continue to happen. And like you said, you tried 17 something times.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
And you were
like if you would
still-
tell me now at the age of me, you're going to go to 17 interviews
Yeah.
over 4 years, I'd be like, you have lost your mind. So there is something to be said for youth because I was
fair.
so young
Yeah,
and just
yeah,
like
yeah.
hungry
Yeah.
and now it would maybe feel different.
Well, I also feel like now, the hungry is, of course, is part of it. But now you're like, I'm so confident. I'm sure, like I've done the hard work of being like building yourself up. That now you're like, this is who I am. Like you've already built that self. There's still more to come, of course. But it's
Yeah.
just like you're so sure that you've already done the crazy stuff. Like I don't know if I would necessarily go out in San Francisco and sell bottles of water to get myself through the
No.
next thing. But I mean,
Yeah.
like there are things that you've like elevated to. You know what I mean? So.
Right.
But that is, I mean, it's truly, truly impressive to hear all of these things. And so the wedding singer tour, then you had the cruise, and then you were a part of Rent as well?
Yeah, I was
Okay.
in Rent, and that was my last musical theater endeavor.
Okay.
Rent was a dream show, another dream show, and
Yeah.
one of the first shows I ever saw, which is, a heavy topic if you know what Rent is about.
Yep.
And I saw the touring company come through Kansas City when I was in high school, and my parents took me, and that was another kind of like full circle moment where I felt like after that experience, this could be a good one to kind of end on.
Yeah.
And I started struggling mentally while I was performing, doing musical theater.
Okay.
The schedule is really rough.
Mhm.
It can be lonely. I was fortunate enough to kind of work very consistently pretty much all through my 20s, which is not the case. Typically you move to New York and you just like are grinding for
Right.
years before. So towards the end of my time there, I just felt like really run down.
Yeah.
I didn't have the best experience in Rent. Hairspray I did for a really long time.
Okay.
Rent was a little bit like some of the things I was experiencing, it was just a lot of ego.
Yeah.
And I hated being in the dressing room.
Yeah.
Thank God for my original iPod, and I could just like,
Not the
you know
OG
what I mean?
iPods. Yeah, absolutely.
And I suffered some vocal injuries
Okay.
during Rent as well. It just took its toll
Yeah,
on me.
absolutely. And then I feel like once your mental health starts to be affected, then it kind of like pulls you away from your passion and your why and the purpose that you had, that all that hunger that you had built up over the years. Like once that starts to get affected, it kind of like repels you from wanting to maintain that as well, right?
Yeah.
Let's say someone was, they're chasing their dream and maybe they're not quite where they want to be yet, but they know that this is the dream for them. They keep getting maybe no's after no's, but they just know it. They feel it like you did. What's some advice that you would give to them to keep going?
Everyone's journey is
So
different.
different. Yeah.
Timing is different. Some people I know have been in New York for 10 years before they get their one show. So it's hard to like give kind of an outline of what it looks like, but I would say find joy in other things.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people just want it so badly and they just eat, sleep, breathe, and then 10 years goes by and it's like, what else did I do? So I would say find like your second favorite thing and do it. Anything that like feeds your soul and your spirit and just re-energizes you, because that's only going to make you better for the thing you really want.
I love that, because I feel like sometimes when you get so much tunnel vision, then you almost isolate yourself from all the other things you would find joy doing, like your friends or spending time with family or maybe doing hobbies. And also I think we live in this culture where like hobbies are being taught that you have to make money off of them, which is not the case either. I feel like sometimes hobbies are the best way to escape and get more into your mental health, like more present in yourself again. So I love that too, just because sometimes we can get overwhelmed with like following our dreams and like what's the next big thing and the next big thing, that we forget that we can actually enjoy all those little small things that are happening around us too.
Don't wish life away for that thing. I think, and I've done that. Before. So I say that from experience. But the industry has changed so much. I think the world has just changed so much. Like you don't even necessarily need to live in New York City. Even when I first moved here, I was kind of like dabbling in auditioning still a little bit. And I was like, well, New York will always be there. And if I get another show, I can just move back or whatever. Like you can kind of make your own version of what is success and what works for you.
Absolutely, especially with social media these days. Like I think it's kind of changed the game for everyone in a way where, there's more opportunity there. Well, I know you mentioned that your mental health was started being affected. Was there an experience with self-doubt, or maybe you were starting to kind of retract back into that, I don't know if this is, the right fit for me? Did you ever feel self-doubt? Did you ever feel imposter syndrome? Because I know you were so sure that this is absolutely what you wanted. But then in Rent, you started to feel like that separation. How did you navigate that?
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned social media right before that, because that was around the time social media kind of became more prominent. And I think that I just started seeing what else was in the world. And I was like, oh my gosh, like these people can sing way better than me, or these people are better actors, or these people are like more handsome, like all the things. And that's when I really got into the trap of comparing myself. And it really, really like took me out.
Like one of the, hardest part about social media is, of course, there's so many beautiful things about social media, with the community aspect, with being able to actually see that there are other things out there for us to do, and, connecting with one another. But I do think that there's like almost a curated sense of social media where people are only putting their best versions online, but they actually you don't see all the things that have led them up to that point, right? And which is another reason why, for example, this show is so important to me, because it's like we see this finished product of people, but you don't see all the things that took them to get there, right? And so then we're just comparing ourselves to like the quote unquote, the finished product of what we see of people right now, but we don't see everything that leads up to that, or the curated version of themselves. We don't see the mental health struggles that they're also dealing with, or the insecurities. And so I feel like that's the hard part about social media with the comparison, because you're just blasted with this curated content of like the best places to travel to in the world, the best looking people, like all this stuff. And you're like, how do I attain all these things? But how did you start to find, peace with getting away from that comparison trap? Because it kind of keeps you in.
A therapist.
You're like, sitting and talking.
Yeah, I think just also awareness. Like that was a time too when I was like, maybe I felt a sense of shame, because I think I was falling out of love with New York. And I was falling out of love with doing musical theater. And I was kind of like, well, this is kind of my identity from 6. Like literally 6. What will everyone think if I'm like, I think I'm good. What will my parents think? They've spent, so much time and energy helping me pursue and achieve my dreams, that like, I got really, really hard on myself, and I think I just needed to take some time. And we
Yeah.
got our closing notice for rent like pretty soon after I joined. So it was like a short-lived experience. I think it was like 6 months or something.
Okay.
And then I was like, maybe I don't want to be in New York. So I
Mhm.
put my things in storage. I went home for Christmas and I got like a one-way ticket to Kansas. And I
Okay.
was like, I think at that point, more depressed than I really thought or even knew.
Mhm.
And that was the first time that I really was like, I need help.
Yeah.
And I reached out, I told my parents, I was like, I'm going to come home for Christmas and I think I need to just stay
Yeah.
for a little while. And again, they're the greatest of all time and opened their homes back to me. And I ended up staying home, I think it was for like 6 months.
Okay. Yeah.
Great therapist, found a personal trainer just to kind of give me structure and
Mhm.
start moving my body. And then that's when I decided to come out here.
Right.
But really just taking that time. I mean, I had been in like therapy or like counseling
Right.
before when I was young
Right.
with my mom, just like to do it. And I think my mom just always wanted to create that safe space
Yeah.
from an early age. So it was the first time as an adult that I was just like, I need help. I'm
Help.
not in a good place.
Right.
I'm depressed.
And I think that's so courageous too, though, because like sometimes asking for help can feel so there's like a sense of like worry or shame. Again, like kind of going back to like, what are people going to expect of me? Like I've been carrying myself this way for so long.
Mhm.
Are people going to change their mind about how they perceive me? But realistically, I feel like asking for help is one of the most kind things that you can do for your loved ones in a way, because you're allowing them into you and allowing that side of you that, maybe it's hard for other people to have access to, or even for you to have access to yourself. Because I
Yeah.
don't know, even asking for help from myself is really difficult
Mm.
and like prioritizing my own well-being. Well, I know you said also like you started doing personal training, like you started having a personal trainer, and did
Yeah.
that, I mean, fitness has always been a part of your life, but did that especially play a role in your mental health journey, kind of getting back on track with getting into fitness?
Yeah, I think that definitely sparked a love for me that I didn't know I had. I
Okay.
think that fitness was always the constant, like
Yeah.
through line. And I found community in that. I think it was kind of just also me almost like reclaiming that space that
Yeah.
like once made me feel really uncomfortable, like in middle school or high school.
Right.
And I was in New York City and there were these amazing like fitness classes and just cool spaces that you could be celebrated
Yeah.
in a way that felt really different than what I had experienced before. So when I was home in Kansas City, yeah, that became definitely a turning point in just like how I treated my body and
Right.
how I kind of found the connection between physical health and mental health.
Yeah, and I think that that's the biggest thing with physical health is like at the start of this year, I started working out more,
Hmm.
and then I was like, oh no, like it's working. Like that means I have to keep doing it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yep.
So like, but then you start to feel it, and then it's like you like fall in love with it. Like
Yeah.
there's like a true passion that comes from like taking care of your body.
Mhm.
Even just moving your body, I feel like
Yeah.
is so important.
I mean, even now, sometimes I go to the gym and I'm there for
Yeah.
like 10 minutes. And
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I moved.
But exactly.
Anything is better than nothing, is like what I
Absolutely.
always say.
No, absolutely. It's not like whenever you say fitness, it's not like you have to be a track star or, run marathons, but it's just like
Yeah.
even any form of movement is so important, especially with people who, might be working at jobs where they're sitting most of the day or they don't, and then
Mhm.
they move from their chair to going home and then sitting again on the couch or whatever that might be.
Yeah.
No shame with that, but it's like being able to like kind of get your body moving in between those moments, even just like a few minutes a day is really important.
Absolutely.
And so now like fitness has become your new like spotlight, right? Like it's
Mhm.
always been there, but now, you've stepped away from musical theater and you're doing more with fitness.
Yeah,
Did that start because now you are a Barry's instructor,
I
right?
am.
And so,
Yeah.
and you're an amazing one as well. Top producer, top seller, right? Kind of thing. All your classes are always
Sold out.
booked. I got you sold out. We're sold out here, baby.
Sold out.
Yeah.
Sorry. Sign up a week before.
There you go. And so that kind of created this new confidence in you, right? Like where you're like, this is my new vision. When
Yeah.
did that start?
It's funny because when I started in fitness, it was like an all-time low.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes weird to talk about musical theater version of me because it feels forever ago.
Right.
And in the meantime, I've done like a lot of modeling, and that was like
Right.
a whole like era, I guess, of my life. And that also, kind of takes its toll on you because the entire, your entire career is based on literally how you look. So that can become really challenging.
Especially with, again, the social media aspect of comparing yourself and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because then it's not just what they have, but it's also how they look and present
Yeah.
themselves, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, and that world is vicious.
Yeah.
It's vicious, and I don't even know if I see it really changing. And I say like the world is changing, but I don't know.
They go through waves.
I don't know about that
Hopefully
one.
it's a little better than whenever, like, what was it? What was the next America's Next Top Model?
Oh my gosh.
When I watch those back now, I'm like,
Okay,
we
so I have a fun
consumers?
fact for you.
Okay.
You know, when they had men,
Yeah.
I was like set to be on the show. I signed the contract, everything. I was like set to be on America's Next Top Model was my
Really?
dream. Yeah.
Okay.
And then like 3 weeks before it filmed, the producers called me and they were like, "Hey, like we're so sorry. This is where your journey ends. We've decided to swap you out with someone else and like it's just not going to happen."
Ugh.
And I was devastated because I thought that was just the way.
Right.
You know, because at that point I was
Yeah.
like 28 or something and like,
Right.
you're dead
Yeah.
as a model. They're like, "Oh, you're 28? No."
Yeah.
So I was like, well, this is the only way. But I mean, the funny thing is a lot of those people didn't end up really working. And
Right.
I ended up getting signed with like my dream agency. So like everything happens how it's supposed to. But that was another moment where I was like, the world is ending.
Right.
And I actually still have the contract just like saved because I think
Wow.
it's funny.
It's like a souvenir.
Yeah,
It's like a
absolutely.
little, like a marker of time. A
Yeah,
little bit
and if
too.
I ever meet Tyra, I'm gonna be like, "Girl,
Yeah.
you messed up.
Yeah.
You really missed it."
Well, I think it's also just a testament to, like, sometimes you're gonna get no's, but it's actually putting you on the track of what you truly want.
Redirection, yeah.
And yeah, even though it's like it hurts in that moment. I mean, I know it's so cliche to be like everything happens for a reason, but then
Yeah.
it's like it does, like you look back on everything that I've been through, even all of the rejection or the no's or like being, through abandonment or my insecurities or my imposter syndromes or, my dreams that I thought were dream jobs back in the day that I didn't get have literally like pathwayed me to where I am now,
Yeah.
which is kind of crazy. That goes hand in hand with your mental health as well.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I mean, fitness, just working out was
Yeah.
just kind of how my love for fitness began.
Right.
And then I was kind of like recruited, I guess, from Barry's.
Okay.
And the funny thing is I was still kind of unsure. I had just moved here. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to end up moving back to New York and, trying to do musical theater again or whatever. And I lied to them. And I was like, oh, I'm not available for the like audition because I was too scared.
Okay.
And I was just so fearful that I wasn't prepared or wasn't good enough or wasn't fit enough or
Right.
wasn't hot enough or like all these like psychotic things that you like go
Right.
through in your brain. But I talked myself out of going to the first audition for Barry's.
Well, and I felt like that is such an interesting realization too, because you did 17 auditions for Hairspray. You went, you snuck off and went to do the cruise line. There was such a determination, and then looking at like Barry's is that you had that fear, right? That stopped you from going after it. Do you think that there was a reason where that shift had changed in your mindset of being like, this is what I'm gonna do versus that fear caught up to you? Is that stemming from the comparison thing, or where did that come from? Do you think?
I think a little bit. I think
little
also
bit.
too, like as you get older, life just kind of
Yeah.
kicks you
Yeah, a
sometimes,
little bit.
and
Yeah.
I think there's beauty in ignorance
Yeah,
sometimes. And
I
when I
agree.
was 19, I was like, I don't know, whatever, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
But, when you start getting older, you kind of start doubting yourself.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened
Right.
with that first situation.
Well, if someone was, kind of feeling like the world's heavy right now, and maybe they're looking at a way to get back in their mental health strength and to gain that strength back, what is a practice or something that you would recommend that they would do?
I think just moving your body first and foremost, and in some of the most challenging emotional times of my life, even just going on a walk was like a really big win.
Okay.
Even if that's the biggest win or the only win of the day, it's like just move,
Yeah.
just walk, fresh air, anything you can is a win. And also just like one day at a time, 1 hour, some days 1 hour at a time.
Yeah.
But I would say kind of in that same, like going back to like just being the authentic version of yourself is time.
Yeah.
Time is a beautiful thing. And I kind of had this like line that I loved when I was really going through it, that going toward the light is always worth the fight. So even though you might be feeling like, damn, like this is rough boots and I just don't see the end, there's always light at the end, and there's always people who are there to help. And I just think there's so much strength in reaching out and asking for help.
I agree.
I love helping people. I've created like a really good community of best friends that I think we can all just be real and like, hey, I'm going through it and I need your help. And sometimes it's not even advice. You just need to listen, or you need someone to listen.
I love all of that because, I mean, it's just like there's so many forms of strengthening your mental health. It doesn't just come in one avenue. Like there's so many ways of doing it. And then just dabbling in little bits of those, finding the light in that, because there are little bits of ways that you can find joy again. It doesn't have to be all or nothing, you know? Because then sometimes I feel like if I focus so much on this big thing that I want, sometimes I feel like I repel it. Do you know what I mean? Like I start to feel like it's not attainable. If I can say, oh, I'll commit to 1 hour for a walk, or for me, I'm 4 years sober now. And something, thank you so much. And something for me that I learned going to AA, they said, you don't have to say you're going to be sober forever, because the idea of being forever for something is really scary. It could be detrimental to your growth. But what you can say is, I'm going to be sober today. Or I'm going to be sober this hour. And then
milestones.
Right.
Yeah.
Tomorrow you can just choose to be sober again. Or tomorrow you can choose to go on 1 hour walk again. But then next thing you know, it builds, right?
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, a year has passed by and you're on this new journey. And so I feel like not putting this like giant timestamp on your mental health too is like so important. That's exactly what you just said too.
Yeah.
And I know you just also said, authenticity. And I think that was something we talked about at the beginning of this episode. What do you, in your opinion, what does authenticity mean to you?
Wow. Authenticity to me, I mean, obviously just kind of living as your true self and embracing all of your quirks and what makes you different. I think sometimes we can get, in our heads or fit molds that people want us to be. And a lot of that can be based off of careers or even just locations where you are, how you fit in and how you move through life. But I always just would practice by myself. And I think that's like I would just be goofy.
Yeah.
Like I felt like in a lot of things in my life, I could not be silly. I had to be this, that, the other. And at the core of me, I'm just like a goober.
Yeah.
So I would just like have dance parties with myself or sing in the car and not feel like I was being judged.
Yeah.
So I think in the same line of like creating those small milestones, it's like also creating that with just yourself.
Yeah. It's so important because sometimes we're taught to just be so serious all the time when actually it's like we're all a little weird. And honestly, I'm like a little dark humor goes a long way as well for me. It gets me through everything.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of silly and goofy, at the end of every episode, I ask just like really random silly questions.
Oh dear. Okay.
Because we get deep on here, you gotta wrap it up on a light note. You know what I'm saying? If your warm-up routine could be replaced by a ridiculous dance move, what would it be? And you have to do it.
Gosh, I have to perform it.
You have to do it.
Oh dear. Well, I don't have room. I'm too big.
You don't have to do crazy. You can stay in the chair.
I'm too big. I would say, okay, the Running Man I'm a big fan of.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like the MC Hammer. Whatever. Or I know I'm like 10 years too late, but like the floss.
What's the floss?
Remember like oh my
God.
like
the...
Yeah, like the
yes,
swish, like the Katy Perry thing.
Yes.
Yeah, and I've mastered it. I'm definitely late to the party.
Okay.
But I would say that.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I'm trying to think of what I would do. Can I like do the worm?
Yeah,
Somehow
absolutely.
the worm is... I'm bringing the worm back.
Do you want to perform it?
But
performing the worm.
Imagine I just literally broke out and did the worm right now.
I would love it.
Honestly, maybe we could do it afterwards. I don't know. But I don't know if I trust this floor. But we'll see.
Probably not.
But I mean, imagine I just broke out the worm in every single entrance. That would be
That's
iconic.
Exactly.
If you, whenever you're starting one of your classes, if you had a walk-in catchphrase like a wrestler, what would it be? You know how did you ever watch UFC fight, or
my
like
dad would
WWE?
watch it all the time. I was like, what is this?
The Rock was like, can you smell what the Rock is cooking?
Like my introduction line?
Yeah, like your catchphrase.
Like my Real Housewives like tagline?
That could be, I'm not going to hear WWE, you're like, we're Real Housewives.
Oh God. Mine would probably be like, coming in at 6'5" with Midwest charm and a West Coast bite. Kyle K.
Wait, that was great. I was like, that was amazing. I'm
Thank
like, what would I do?
I need like one of those megaphones to properly give you the
You
voice.
just take this off and just blah, blah.
Yeah, what would yours be?
I don't know. Now I'm like, okay, maybe I would do the opposite of you and be like, she 5'3".
5'2".
She 5'3.5". Thank you very much. I hold on to that half an inch.
Yeah.
5'3.5". She's small. She's snarky. She'll bite you in the ankles. I don't know. She's going for it.
I like that.
I just literally, I don't know. That's where I'm going with. Yeah, we could be opposites, or we could just that's our intro
We would be a
together.
hilarious duo because it would just be
Yeah.
You could just get on my shoulders.
Oh my God, that is an entrance in itself.
That's the teaser.
That's the teaser. If you can let everyone know where to follow your journey and if they can book classes with you a week in advance, by the way, where they can do that.
You can find me at Barry's. I teach in Studio City and West Hollywood here in Los Angeles. Follow me on Instagram, Kyle Kleiboeker. I'm also new to the TikTok. I'm like kind of like an elder, you know what I mean? But I'm dabbling in the TikTok. So you could search me on that too, probably.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for coming on and hanging out. I flew by. I feel like we are like just getting into it, which is so fun. But
well, you're wonderful. I'm really happy to be here. So thank you.
I appreciate you. Your story is really amazing. And honestly, I feel inspired right now where I'm like, what do I want to do? Would I want to like start some random idea and just like go for it? Just light a fire under my ass. Let's go.
Absolutely. I support you. Of course.
So
thank you. Mwah.
And that's a wrap on this episode of She Comes With Baggage. If you love this conversation, make sure to follow She Comes With Baggage on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube for more content and behind-the-scenes moments. And if you're tuning in on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or any other audio platform, don't forget to leave a review. I love hearing from you, and your support helps to keep these conversations going. And just remember, if you are carrying any baggage, you're not alone, and we're all more alike than we might realize. See you soon.